have no idea. I guess we're gonna start chasing the wire and see where it goes for the mystery switch.
Hide and seek electricity.
Yeah. All the wasps out there, that nest was about that big with a bunch of live wasps on it. Also had lizards running out of there, had scorpions running out of there, and that. So I guarantee you there is water up in the front.
It's doing better than yesterday. You can see all the wet stains on the floor.
Alright, so as you can see, I finally got room to walk in here. It was completely full of stuff. We've been getting stuff organized. It's time for me to start doing some wiring because I need to get back to building furniture, but we need to get power and insulation and walls up in here first. And as you can see, everything's been pushed out against the walls while we've been organizing. So I need to pull everything back off of the walls, get all that particle board down, and start wiring everything up. It's already been a long day. It's going to be a long night, but it's all going to be worth it. You ready to climb up there? Just only step on beams. Don't step on the drywall or you'll be down here.
Step at a crack.
So if y'all didn't watch the first video, you see we have all these switches back there on the, let's try this new zoom out. Oh yeah, new zoom works good. Back there we got more switches, and in the breaker box on the back corner we have 21 breakers for this 1,000 square foot shop. What they did was they ran a breaker from there to a switch to a ceiling fan, breaker, switch, ceiling fan, another breaker, switch, ceiling fan. Same thing for the lights. So we just have a rat's nest of wiring, and there's some splices in some of the wiring and stuff. So before we put the walls up, we're just going to make it right so it's never an issue down the road. We already have that plug over there for that light. Keeps popping a breaker, so something's shorting out somewhere. So again, before we put the walls up and have issues, we're just going to pull it down. If you didn't watch the first video too, I'm going to go through and about every 4 foot, I'm going to put a plug down here, but I'm going to be running 12-2 wire over 14-2 just because we're going to be running a bunch of equipment and saws and stuff in here. A little bit bigger gauge wire is going to be a little safer. Alright, you ready to do this? So what Emily's going to do, we have this wire that we can see right here for the ceiling fan. She's going to go and start cutting all the other wires for the other ceiling fans. We're going to pull them all out, get rid of all the extra switches, because we really just need one switch for the fans, and the new fans don't have lights in them because we're going to have 24 LED lights in here. So we don't need lights in the fans. So we're going to get rid of all these extra switches because we got a switch for each individual fan, which if I ever needed to turn a single fan on, I can just pull the chain and turn whichever one I want on. So instead of over having all that. So again, we're going to get all this pulled out. We're just going to have the single run into this fan because we got a 20 amp breaker, and I think you can run like 20 fans off a 20 amp breaker. And I don't know why they wired in per fan, but we're just going to loop from fan to fan. It'll have its own breaker, and then we'll wire in for our lights next, and then we'll have wiring for our plugs. So we should go from 21 breakers down to, I don't know, 5 or 6, and then some big breakers for like compressor and welder. So, and then we'll have plenty of space in the breaker box for when we blow out that wall and extend the shop out. We can run separate breakers for everything on that side. Ready to do this?
Be brave.
Yeah. You see we got everything pushed out in the middle of the shop now, so we can get to the walls.
Got it?
Yep, I got it.
You might be on little.
That's why you're getting up there. A little 4 foot ceiling, and your little 4 foot 11 butt fits up there good. Better than me trying to fit up there. Pocket size. Pocket size? Party size?
Yes, the size.
Yeah, we don't need that up there. I don't even know what that is. Alright guys, I'm going to put the camera down so I can help her. So, but again, we're just going to pull all the separate wiring from those, and we're just going to loop from that fan to that fan to that fan, and then that one will be done. Alright, we got the ceiling fans done. So you already got some of the switches pulled out. We're just going to have this single switch here. We'll end up running all 3 ceiling fans. I'll probably move it up here. This was for the lights on the ceiling fan, so it'll be going away. We figured out this is our outside lights here, but we have a mystery switch. We cannot figure out what it goes to, but it's got power. We're just trying to figure out where it goes. This switch here goes to our motion sensor light on the front. I have no idea where this goes, and it's not showing any power on this, like these, no matter if I turn it on or off. I guess we're gonna start chasing the wire and see where it goes for the mystery switch.
Hide and seek electricity.
Yeah.
Does anyone have a quarter spray?
Yep, just get close to it and it'll light up if it's it. Well, what the heck could that go to?
Question.
Huh.
Since we already cut this cord. Yeah, but if you put the power source to this here, that's my question.
Oh, we cut it up there. That's right. I got you. Okay. Okay.
So I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Why
okay.
would we touch something that has no power?
That's right. We cut it off into the ceiling. Okay. Back to the drawing board.
We're tired. It's been a long week. Our critical thinking skills are in the dirt.
It's been a crazy long week.
Yeah.
We got, well, 2 weeks actually now.
We
We've
need a
been,
vacation for our vacation.
we hadn't had a vacation in
2019?
2019. Wow.
Yeah. Got plenty PTO and no time to take it.
Yeah. But anyways, we're getting it cleaned up. All right, we're about to call it a night. It's late, and Emily has to get up early for work in the morning, so call is good. Say goodnight, Emily. Yeah, that's how we feel. So we did end up figuring out the mystery switch. When we were looking in there, there's a wire here, there's a wire here, there's a wire here, there's a wire here. But this switch wouldn't activate anything, and this would. So what we ended up figuring out was, well, let me explain the switch first for people that may not understand. So if you look on this switch right here, you see where this little bridge is? That's taking power from here to here. So what you can do is you can hook just a single power up here. It'll power both sides because of this little bridge. And then you see the other side doesn't have that bridge. So these would be your power going out. So you can have two separate switches that operate separately. So one power can power both switches on both sides. Then you have two separate powers coming out. Well, they had wire here, wire here, wire here, wire here. Kind of odd, right? Okay. Well, what they did was, instead of having their powers going in on this side and their powers coming out on this side and having two separate switches, they had two powers going in on this side, which made this side a single power coming out, even though they had two wires hooked up. So only one switch was activating both of these, if that makes sense. So this switch didn't do anything because they had it backwards. So there's the mystery solved. Definitely ready to get some light in here. It's raining outside, it's a little cloudy, and it's very dark in here. Now I'll go ahead and put up a before picture here so y'all can remember what we had with the, I think there was 10 switches here, and then we got 2 on the other end of the shop. So we went from 11, 12 switches down to these 5. All right, let me go ahead and show you what I've got going on here. So the first switch now is for lights. We've got fans here that'll run all 3 fans we're going to put in here. Since we're no longer using fan lights and we already had the power here for fan lights, I went ahead and just did a spare switch. I labeled it attic because I'm putting a plug in the attic that we can plug a light into. Just in case down the road I want to add another light or something that I wasn't thinking about when I wired all this up, I can just tap into that box in the attic and run it to whatever I need, and I'll have a switch to turn it on and off if I ever need it. If we don't ever need it, I can plug it in for the attic light, so we'll have light up there whenever we're having to mess with stuff. These 2 are my outside lights. These are my wall sconce lights that go around the shop. And this is for the motion sensor spotlight that's on the front, but we're actually going to be getting rid of that and putting a gooseneck light in the front and back. So that'll operate those gooseneck lights. Just have 5 simple switches instead of 10. 12 total in the shop. And I won't have to walk all the way back there to turn those switches on, because they will now be located here by the door. So just in anticipation of eventually being able to get a mini split system put in here, I'm going to go ahead and run this 10-3 wire before I close up the walls and put a quick disconnect box outside. So it'll already have wiring there for when, not if, when I do get a mini split system for in here. For right now, I'm just going to run the wires up into the breaker box until I get a mini split system and see what size breaker they recommend, and then I'll wire it up. But we'll at least have the wire ran in the wall and the disconnect box on the outside of the wall, so it'll be ready to go. After I get this done, I'm going to go around and start putting all my boxes on the wall for my plugs, for my heavy duty plugs with the 12-2 wire. Get those all put in. It's going to take a little bit of time because it would have been a lot easier to do all this before we moved all this stuff in, but with the time frame we had, we're working with what we got. So I'm just going to have to move everything away from the walls and start running wires. Now this is one of the reasons I'm going through and replacing all this wiring now before we close the walls in. You can see here they got a splice with a bunch of electrical tape around it. You can already tell that's not safe, so we need to get that out of here. It's really unfortunate to have to do this because they used a lot of really heavy gauge wire in here. I'd rather just know it's all right and it's all new over down the road having issues and having to rip the walls out to get to stuff to try to find where the issue's at. So let's go ahead and pull it all out now and make it right and have a peace of mind. Now, one of the positive things about this shop is they went through and put these protective plates over all the wiring. So that way when we go to put our walls up, we don't have to worry about running a nail or a screw through there and catching our wires and splitting them. I went ahead and picked up a few more of these as well, so if I end up adding wiring anywhere on these studs, I can put a protective plate over it so we can have peace of mind whenever we start putting our walls in. Alright, let me show you what I'm talking about here with this gauge wire. So this is 12-2. This is actually an upgrade. Normally you would use a 14-2, which is a thinner wire. But in your garage, your bathroom plugs, and your kitchen plugs, they recommend to run a 12-2 just because you're going to be plugging stuff in that pulls more power. Now a lot of the wiring in this shop is this. I guess that's like a 10 gauge. It's huge. Which is really unfortunate because this stuff right now is super expensive to get. But as you've seen, they got splices in it, and there's a lot of boxes where this big gauge wire goes to it, and then coming out of that box is a small gauge wire, and then they went back up to a big gauge wire. I don't know if they just used the wire that they had left over, or if they made improvements over the year or repairs over the years, and smaller gauge wire got put in with this big gauge wire. But anyways, it is unfortunate to have to pull all this out, but I'd rather have that peace of mind and just run all new and know it's going to be all good. We're not going to have to tear walls out, finding out why, our lights or our plugs aren't working. Now the lights, I'm still just going to run 14-2 gauge wire because again, copper is super expensive now. So there's no reason to go overkill for the ceiling fans and the lights. That's just going to get 14-2, but all of our plugs that we're going to be plugging equipment into, it's going to get a 12-2. Alright, so if you decide to dabble in putting in plugs, I would highly recommend getting one of these. It's just a plug tester. It's going to have lights that indicate if everything's correct or if any of your wires are backwards or if anything's grounded out. When you're putting in this many plugs, it can become very repetitive and it'd be easy to get wires backwards, when you're just sitting there doing it over and over again. So before you plug in any of your equipment and fry it, just spend a few bucks, get one of these Klein testers. I think they're like $12 or something like that, which is a lot cheaper than buying a new saw. Alright, I'm going to kick on the power. Hopefully the breaker doesn't kick. Alright, that's a good sign. The breaker didn't kick. Let's go through and test them. What you're looking for is for these two orange lights to be on and this one to be off. That's correct. And then there's a whole bunch of different patterns. It'll give you everything from open ground to open neutral to open hot to hot ground reversed, hot neutral reversed. And just take time and go through. Don't just check one or two. Go through and check all of them. That way, again, you don't cost yourself a new saw. Well, I found where the wasp nests were. Those are big. You see that? What is that, glasses? What is it? So, we found another wasp nest, but this one's full of wasps. And it's a huge nest. Luckily, it's really cold outside right now, so they're not moving very fast. I got all the wasps out there. That nest was about that big with a bunch of live wasps on it. Also had lizards running out of there, had scorpions running out of there, and that is ant beds. So good thing we took that down. I'll get it all sealed. I am very ready to go ahead and replace this siding though. Get that all sealed up. Alright, as you can see, I've been rocking and rolling today. Pretty cool, huh? So the hardest part of this sometimes is trying to think 5, 10, 15 steps ahead. What I don't want to run into is putting the walls up, getting everything, getting it looking nice and perfect, and going, man, I wish I had a plug there, I wish I had a switch there, I wish I had a light there. So I'm trying to do my best to think 15 steps ahead of what I'm going to need. I think I've got most of it covered. Like things like this, you see the white wire that's 14.2 that's actually running to the light switch here. Loops over this way. I plan on putting a beam here with a light on the front. So the switch activates that. And then I got another wire that loops over there where there will be a second beam with a light that also comes on when you flip the switch on. Now what I just added here a few minutes ago was I moved these cabinets here. I was like, hey, I'm going to have upper cabinets too. What if in the future I decide I want some under cabinet lights? So I went ahead and added a third wire that goes over this cabinet and goes over that cabinet just in case I ever decide to do under cabinet lights. And they'll all work off of that switch. Now speaking of these cabinets, check this deal out. Yeah, 35 bucks. And the upper ones are 25. I'm going to turn them into workbenches. They'll need some paint and some different hardware and we'll make them fit the industrial theme, but I think 9 total today with tops and bottoms, and it was 300 bucks total, which you can't even buy one of these for $300. So pretty good score, right? Now I just wanted to get these set in place just so I could figure out the location of everything, make sure my plugs are in a good spot above them, lights, wires, all that stuff. I also got this wall built here. Like I said, on the other side of that wall is going to be kind of my paint booth area. That's going to separate it from the workspace, so I don't have to worry about stuff getting in my paint or paint getting on my stuff. So that should work out pretty good. I've already got the wires ran over there. Now instead of continuing the wire all the way around here to the breaker box, I actually went up and over and back down, because if y'all watch my original video, I plan on eventually blowing this wall out and extending the shop out further. So I'm trying to make it easy on myself in the future, not having that wiring there. Now I am going to go ahead and run some plugs in this wall, but I will put a box probably right around there somewhere. And that way I can just disconnect that box and pull all this wiring out of this wall when I finally decide to get rid of it. See what I mean? Trying to think 15 steps ahead. Save myself some work down the road. Now of course all this stuff is the stuff I was telling you about. One's running the spotlight that's back there. It's like a big park light. There's another switch right there behind that box that just operates those. That, I don't know. So we're going to pull all that out. Next thing I started putting some insulation in too. Not trying to get ahead of myself on getting stuff done. This was just all sitting in the middle of the floor. This is all the insulation I had laying out. They got wet the other day when our shop flooded the first day we moved in here, and we had 8 inches of rain because the drainage out front was blocked. I'll put a video of that right here. I thought I fixed it because this was blocked off. I opened it up so it can drain, but it's not draining it all out. It's just sitting. Figure out something else to do about that, because I guarantee you there is water up in the garage right now.
This is doing better than yesterday. You can see all the wet stains on the floor where it flooded all the way back there, all the way to the back yesterday. At least it's doing better. Still sucks.
So I wanted to get it up out of the way so I'm not tripping over it, stepping over it, it's not getting nasty. So I just went ahead and luckily all the rest of our insulation is here. None of it got wet. Just one roll got wet. Dried out pretty good. We're all good. Could have been a whole lot worse. Now my goal tomorrow, as y'all can see, there's no way of hiding it. The garage is a disaster right now. We had everything pushed up against the walls, so we had room in the middle. And then we had to push everything to the middle to get to the walls, and it is chaotic in here. Now that we got all this wiring finished up, I'm going to start the wiring on that wall in the morning, and then I'm going to try to get as much of this pushed back over there out of the way, so we'll have room for our ladder to start putting in our cool lights and put in our new ceiling fans. Then after that's done, the cool stuff starts. Plan on doing a rustic wall, like I said, some beams. Got a lot of cool ideas that I'm going to do with this space to have for a background for photos when I finish furniture, but also have cool background for filming. For right now, I just need to try to get the walls done, and then down the road, I'll custom paint all these cabinets and make those look really cool. But for right now, we just need to get a workable space because this is not workable. Y'all haven't seen this little gem here I picked up at Trade Days last year. Actually found a shop sink for 10 bucks, and I've been cutting it down, making it fit in there. So that old wash tub with the ringer and everything will be my new shop sink. So lots of plans, lots of cool stuff. Also got a dust collector. I'm gonna have to spend some time and figure out how I want to route all that and get it hooked up to all my equipment so we can try to keep the dust down in here. Stuff everywhere. Do we have any Doctor Who fans? That police box sign actually lights up. It used to be in my theater room in my old house. I'm going to put it right there in the corner and build some shelves inside of it, and it's going to be extra storage and something cool to look at in the background. If you're not a Doctor Who fan, you probably have no idea. It just looks like a police box. But it's really a TARDIS that's bigger on the inside than the outside. Y'all seen where all the ant beds and stuff were? I just went through where the open space was and spray foamed it in. I'll feel so much better once we can finally pull this paneling out, put up some plastic wrap, and get this place sealed up and some good paneling put on the outside. The pieces that I cut out to do that window, I could literally take them with one hand and they just crumble apart in my hand. They're just like an MDF, and they're so old that they're just brittle and fragile. So it definitely is time to get all that stuff taken off. So as you can see, it's very dark outside. It's 11 o'clock at night now. I've been going since 6 a.m. So I'm about to call it quits. Doing all this on my own. Emily helps me when she can, which is a blessing having a wife that will get out here and get her hands dirty and crawl around an attic and can help me out. Because doing all this on my own is taking up a whole lot more time than I originally planned, but it's just a lot of work. It's just time consuming, tedious work. And this isn't the fun stuff. This is the mandatory stuff. The fun stuff starts when we start decorating and painting stuff, and that's the fun stuff. So, but we're almost there. Like I said, I'm appreciative to have her, but man, if I had 2 or 3 more people, we probably could have done all of this in a day instead of days. But y'all know me too, and I like to do stuff on my own because I know if I do it, it's done right. And if it's not done right, the only person to blame is me. Alright, so you can tell I'm severely tired. I'm getting delirious. I'm going to take my butt to bed. I'll see y'all in the morning. Alright guys, we got it all done. Sorry, heavy breather Colossus over here checking my work. Got all new plugs, ran all the way around the shop. I'm still a couple plugs short. I'll go pick those up today right over there. I went ahead, that's going to be my laser section, so I went ahead and added a separate breaker and plugs just for all the laser cutters and engravers. Got wiring running all the way around. Like I said, we got our wires going up, switches for the lights that'll be above the counters. Okay, hopefully with all the unpacking, I'll find my mics soon. So I apologize for the sound quality till we get those back. As I said, all the plugs and the wiring's done. So next episode, we're going to be putting in our custom lights. Y'all really stay tuned for that. We got 24 of them going in. They're going to be adjustable from a soft warm glow to a bright white. So I'm kind of curious to see what's going to work best in here. But we're going to get those put in, and we're going to get our ceiling fans installed. So, me and Colossus, I'll see you on the next episode.